Hello, eRank. Welcome to another edition of Thursday Live with me, Pam Duffy, and her Starla. And today, I was planning to go through and talk about the Etsy Up webinar that happened on Tuesday, but yeah, unless any of you have any questions about it, because if you haven't read the latest articles, then there was possibly some surprises in there. If you've read the articles, then that's about all the Etsy Up did was read the articles, if we're honest. But the early trend report is out, and they did mention it in Etsy Up, and Starla's really good at this kind of trend stuff. So I thought that would be a nice thing for us to talk about today. So if anyone has any questions, comments, or thoughts about the up and coming holiday trends, let us know in the chat. And as always, any other questions about Etsy, eRank, the weather, anything you want, go for it.
Yeah, it's always funny when we watch Etsy Up because it's like this is the stuff that Pam and I both cover weeks before Etsy Up. So everybody who watches Pam and I religiously, they've already fully like learned and gone over this information. It's so crazy. Oh, yep. There we go.
Yeah, Wendy was saying as we came in, I didn't hear anything new, but maybe it was useful for people who don't have a Starla, Pam, and Brian.
Yeah, exactly. You got to have a Starla, Pam, and Brian in your life.
Absolutely.
We're on it. We do all this stuff way faster than Etsy, and in my opinion, we do it better.
Of course, yes. I was sitting there. I had notebooks. I was actually screen recording the screen. I was taking notes at the time, and then after, I have to admit, I was in a Slack in eRank, and we were just talking about things and just going, this is literally just the just all the articles. It was nice, however, to see some real sellers.
Yes.
That's lovely. However, and I spoke about this with Brian sort of afterwards, what isn't so lovely is most of what we're seeing is sellers with beautiful big like studios to do all their work in. They're very Instagrammable, whereas most of us are clearing a space that's this big to get even our photographs. Like, I'd love to see a knitter who's actually real world sitting on their sofa with wool piled all around the place, because that's really what we are, isn't it?
I wanted to comment so bad, like, the first, it was like, meet Chad, and shows Chad's like glass blowing studio. And I wanted to comment so bad and say, so if Chad's shop has a bunch of listings wrongfully deactivated, does he get Etsy support, or is Chad out of luck too? Because I have had so many sellers over the last few months who are having their listings deactivated for completely like drug paraphernalia and stuff, and it's something silly like charms for a bracelet.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. And it is such a worry. I'm not a fan of Etsy's current policy that they're trying to stop this, basically things that are in Temu being sold on Etsy. But I think they're going about it the wrong way, in that if they see any duplicates in Temu, they're going to shut down your listing and you have to appeal. Whereas that is, if your listing has been stolen by Temu, which happens a lot, that means your listing will get taken down. And in my opinion, it's going to lose its listing quality score. It's going to lose traction. So you get unfairly penalized for being stolen from by Temu. So I'm definitely messaging Etsy and letting them know that's not the best. I appreciate they're trying to do something here, but
yeah, they're just going about it the wrong way. I think that reaching out to the seller and saying, hey, these are really unique, but we noticed this. Can you provide any evidence that you make these yourself? Like, hold up, a piece of paper with today's date and, your item, and or lay your craft supplies out or something. There's so many ways that they could do it to validate.
They used to do that. I seem to remember that in the past they would contact people and say, can you prove that you make this stuff? And that's fair enough. I mean, yes, some people got annoyed with that, which I totally understand. But if they do it without taking your listing down and say, like Starla says, take a picture of yourself holding your item and or show something of your process, which, yeah, I think that would be really cool.
Exactly.
Oh, Debbie, yes, and that's another very good point. Etsy can see the date of the images in the listing, which should be earlier than the copied
Mhm.
listings. Yep, absolutely. Yes, if you've had something up for 5 years and the other places obviously wait until you're successful and then borrow your photographs. So
Exactly. Well, did we want to go ahead and move on to the Etsy Insights? Um,
yep, indeed. I can't remember the buttons to press. There we go. So if you've missed these, we had the Marketplace Insights, the 2024 early festive season trends. And this, it mentions Christmas, but more excitingly, I think for most of us, it covers Halloween.
it's a little
Uh,
late. I wish they would have done the Halloween stuff months ago, but
Very true. Yes. But the first bit, if everyone's missed it, is the list of the gifting occasions that are coming up. I always find this one a bit interesting. Apart from September 22nd as the autumn equinox, I am not giving up on summer. We are having some summer.
I'm ready for fall. I'm done with this heat.
Send some over here. We've not had any. It's been rubbish this year.
All right.
But we've got some cool ones. Good grief. 18th of November to the 3rd of December is the Cyber Savings Spectacular.
Woohoo!
Yay!
Very spectacular. Actually, well, it's pretty spectacular. Etsy sees more traffic during Cyber Week than any other time of year. So even if you're not able to offer a sale this year, don't count yourself out. Still optimize your shop and make sure that you're ready, just because there's going to be more shoppers that day. And a byproduct of that is, potentially going to be more exposure to those people who are thinking about shopping, and hopefully more sales for everybody.
Absolutely. I mean, but Amazon is the big one that does all these sales. Like, if you've waited to buy things on Prime Day, you'll sit there with your credit card and you'll maybe buy a couple of things on sale. But I don't know, I'm sure I'm not the only one. When you start buying stuff, like, if there's other things that interest you, even if it's not in the sale, the dam's broke. You've started buying. You're going to do all of your buying. So yeah, definitely. I've never had a sale at that time of the year, but I always have an uptick in sales because there's just so many people that are in the mood for buying.
Exactly. They want to get their shopping done.
Yep. So here is all the dates if everyone's missed it. I love Giving Tuesday. That's a sweet one. That should be made more about. um, but yes, and as Brian was saying, like, Hanukkah's around the same time as Christmas this year, so they can make use of the cyber sales and everything as well. Everyone's buying at the same time, so yeah, this could be a fun season, I think. And some extra days here. Yep. So now I loved these. They were talking. I
Yes.
will. I will say, what they did mention for the trend report, as we should all know anyway. But you don't have to dive on the trends. I mean, if you goodness knows what your shop is, but probably most of it can't do an absolutely adorable baby hat with googly eyes on top. Although I should stick googly eyes on everything. My printer has had that. She's got eyes on her all the time. I'll call her Bleepy. I think it's so fun to watch her like vomit out shipping labels, but I'm weird like that.
A lot of these trends will transfer too. So when I'm looking at like the disco ball, UFO, and the pink and purple palettes, I'm also noticing, especially if you guys shop at places like Hobby Lobby, if you're in the US, I'm starting to see disco ball Christmas ornaments and things like that. And a lot of these same palettes that we're seeing trendy for Halloween with the pinks and the purples, I'm starting to see a lot of Christmas decor in those same aesthetics, because if somebody wants to do all, if they're really into pink and purple, who's to say that they're going to stop at Halloween, especially if they just did all their cool pink and purple Halloween stuff? Maybe their next target is going to be getting their pink and purple Christmas stuff. Maybe it's going to be pink and purple Thanksgiving stuff. After that, pink and purple Valentine's Day stuff. I'm sure
yeah,
that Have you seen that lady? That lady who's obsessed with pink and like everything she owns is pink, and she dyes her dog pink.
Not one specifically, but I know of. I've seen quite a
Yeah.
few of those. Yes. The other things that Ichi did mention, which is really cool, is as well, you don't have to jump on these trends, but they could be useful for seasonally relevant graphics for your social media or your background for the pictures. I mean, who couldn't benefit from having some kind of disco ball in their pictures, apart from the fact it's really hard to photograph. But other than that,
Canva has great graphics though, so you could just go to Canva. They've even got little animated ones that spin around, you know?
yeah, and keep an eye on them, because if you're going, oh, that ghost's not necessarily in the season's colors, quite a lot of them you can change the colors.
Mm-hmm.
So you pick up a palette of colors that you want, and you can have the pink pumpkins and purple ghosts and things. Yeah, so very, very cute stuff. They did say, yeah, Halloween definitely is dreamy meets whimsical, softer and more light-hearted. Um, yeah, we were just talking about this, that these, I don't know where they get this this data. I don't even know what any of these things
I
are,
don't
to
either.
be perfectly honest. And I looked up some of them, and yeah, I don't know. Um, yeah, and fall and autumn trends are crossing over into Halloween, as Starla already said, going through. So with the nod to nature, adding spooky things to them, and a fall trend is things like citrus accents. Well, that's like dried dried orange slices and things to make a wreath, which can go for fall, it can go for Halloween, and it's definitely, so marinate it in some cinnamon before you dehydrate it. Your house smells good all winter. So, yeah.
And add some cloves. I've been seeing a lot of even fake orange slice like Christmas garland. They're plastic, which that's probably not as good. But you can, there's so many things that you can do here. It doesn't need to necessarily be the orange slices. Those little natural elements. It could be pine cones. It could be different like dried little branches and things. But obviously, like Pam said, if it doesn't fit your niche, if you sell planner stickers, don't try to add sticks to it or add add orange slices to it. Though if you did planner stickers, that might be a good indication that you could do designs with little orange slices, maybe like a little, I don't know, like a little holly branch with a little orange slice. You could incorporate these trending themes into digital designs or even POD designs for t-shirts.
Yeah, I was just thinking, looking at, they're showing some clothing styles, but like the girl on the top right, if you think how they're staging how she's, I mean, it's a bit weird to stage her on standing on the bench. I guess that's just to get her in the right place in the shot. But what are you putting in the background? You could have some little natural touches in there. I think there's some kind of plantage behind her, but yes, you could throw in some pretty wreaths and stuff there. Guys, let us know what you all think. Linda, a kinder, gentler Halloween. There's nothing not gentle about Halloween. Halloween's fun. Um, I would say charms, definitely. Jan's been noticing in our trend report things like keychains have been doing well all year. So I can definitely see that. You could do like Christmas or Halloween ornaments that are keychains that people can take out and about.
Yeah, and
Um,
the cup charms, I don't know if it's big over there right now, Pam, but like with everybody being obsessed with the Stanley cups, the cup charms are really popular. Just be careful not to use Stanley cup in your, tags or titles, because obviously that can get you in trouble. But, if you already make keychains, consider flipping them into cup charms. There are a lot of ways that you can take some of the products that you likely already have in your shop if you're in these industries and flip them into these trendy things like cup charms or purse charms. When I think of I think keychain for everything. Everything's a keychain. I'm thinking like Y2K, like the kids who just had like 20 keychains on their book bag and they're, jingling all the way down the hallway. I think that overall aesthetic is coming back, but we're seeing the moms now who also want to customize all their little things like their cups and their purses. And they're using very unique phrases in order to find these items, not just keychain and key ring.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I was just talking about the dehydrated fruit before I got to the picture, but it's a cool idea as well for tree ornaments and stuff. And I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, they were talking about really bright acid citruses
Mhm.
on your tree. So that could, if you'd had them, you could pull them out again for sure. Um, Friend gifts and things like that are always nice as well. What I like about some of the things like friend gifts, or best friends gifts, you could think of doing like bundles to sell to someone who has more than one friend. You could do little ways to just upsell extra things.
Roommate gifts. Those are terms that are very unique too, friend gift, gift for mom, gift for dad. Those are ones that we've heard a million times, but roommate gifts, that one's a little bit more unique because we're thinking about all those kids that just went to college.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's it. They're all, well, dorm was absolutely huge. I mean, pushed by Etsy, but dorm decor and stuff. So those young adults that are now in dorm rooms have a very different life from what they had before. They have roommates, they have all this thing. I love the term kidulting. It sounds like you probably should go to jail for it, but it
Adulting.
is very good.
These are fun. Custom or personalized paint by numbers, crochet kits, adult crafting kits. I mean, to me, it just seems so easy. You could make a little gift box with like your crochet hook and the yarn and a pattern and, a little picture of what it should look like when it's completed. I mean, it's almost like you don't even have to do the work. You just have to put the items in the box. I think that that's a great business model if you're providing everything that they need to complete that craft.
Exactly. If you are crafty, like I know most of us in here are crafty, I bet you have some spare crafting supplies that you could put into a kit. I know my friend's mum is building an extension to her house because the craft rooms she already has are overflowing and she needs another room for her craft. I'm forever hiding stuff in extra cupboards and things because I've bought another craft. So I'm sure we all have little extras, and we all have expertise that we could make a little kit super easily. And these are what's adulting, it's self-care, it's mindless things, it's
Mental
even,
health.
yeah, I mean, even anything like fidgeting, you don't, paint by numbers is that kind of, it's mindless activity, but then you get something awesome out of it. And what's a lot of things that my mom's got her finger on the pulse of the crafting things. A lot of things that are coming back round are things like the quilling, where you take strips of paper and twizzle them up and make little things. So it's the real sort of hands-on, time-consuming, mindless things. The 4D art, the diamond painting,
Yes.
that's huge again. They are beautiful.
Yeah, and custom ones. I'm seeing a lot of people. There's like high demand for, people who can like submit their own photo to have it transferred, which I'm sure that that is probably a heck of a task, having to provide all of the colors and things to be able to do that. But
There's tools that do it.
are there? That's okay.
Yeah, because I knew like about 15 years ago, my mum had tools to make custom cross stitch kits that
Mm.
converts it, shows all the pattern, and also picks out all the colors for you. So there's definitely there's tools for that, and it's a really cool thing.
I love this one.
Bookmarks, yes, me too. Yes, we're both in this niche. So yes, all the book lovers things. And again, this is something where if you're doing some bookish things, I think we spoke about it last time Starla was here, in fact, but you can do gift boxes for the book lover with a blanket to wrap them in, a blanket to wrap yourself in while you're reading the book, a candle to light the scent to set the atmosphere, nice bookmarks to go with what you're, dragon bookmark if you're reading the dragon books or something.
I've even been experimenting with keywords related to book clubs. Because I'm starting to see, I'm an author and all I do is read, and my merch store, I'm officially licensed by authors. So I'm in all of their little communities, listening to the lingo and the things that they're talking about. And a lot of them are talking about book clubs, becoming popular, especially with that college age, mostly girls. But I think that that's awesome because girls are the ones I think who are like buying little gifts for all their friends at the book club. So I'm experimenting with the keywords. I don't know how it's going to look, but I'm going to keep a close eye on it over the holiday season.
Sounds good. Oh, Sylvia loves the diamond painting, but also paint by numbers. See if you're an artist, the paint by numbers, like the kit that we showed up, quite a lot of them come with really rubbish paint. But I bet if you're an artist, you have tons of paint that you could just get easily off of Amazon. You could get the little plastic tubs to decant a little bit of paint in and make a better quality kit. Because that's what puts a lot of people off things. These kits are designed for children and they're awful. So an adult one, it doesn't cost you much because you're only using a tiny bit of paint anyway, but you can sell it as quality paint on decent paper. Because I think we've all tried to do some kind of project and the raw materials are so bad that you can't make anything good.
Exactly.
That's my bug. But I do needle felting, and the needle felting kits that you get are so bad. It really annoys me because it just puts people off ever doing the thing because it just makes it too difficult.
Yeah.
Oh, I do like this. Gifting will be all about quality, making each one as special as possible. This is something that we saw at the start of the pandemic and is continuing on, and it is really good. People wanting to buy less, like a bag full of cheap give throwaway presents, and better get one decent pet present that someone's going to keep for years. So if you can cater to that, and the way of thinking about that, well, firstly, can you use better quality materials, but also how are you thinking about it when you're taking your social media pictures and everything? That makes a big difference if you're saying this is quality. And it's actually surprising the amount of difference in the markup you can do. I've said this forever. My mum's a knitter. She can't compete with the people who are knitting cheap acrylic stuff and selling it for less than it costs in the wool. But when she flew to New Zealand, got the wool from the spinners that made the wool for Gandalf's cloak in The Lord of the Rings, and made stuff with that, and was able to say where it had come from and everything without using Lord of the Rings, obviously. But when she was able to do that, then her markup was so much better. She took pictures of the animals the wool came from, just made it. It's not just quality. Here, I'm showing you how great quality it is.
Exactly. I mean, in raw materials like leathers, wool, marble, glass, if you're using things like crystals, if you're using things like real silver, there's just so much that you can do for your marketing there to really inspire people to buy because they know that it's a product that's going to last. Whereas, if they're just buying a bunch of junk that they got at like Walmart, those products are not made to last. They're made, it's that like planned obsolescence that you hear in tech. But I think that a lot of products have planned obsolescence where the company doesn't want that item to last forever. They want you to buy it and destroy it and go buy a new one. That way they're making more money forever. That's why that's why there's a new one every year. And for some reason, you feel like your phone is getting worse and worse every year. Every time you update it, it seems like it's running a little slower.
Yeah,
That's how it
yeah,
works.
that's scummy. That is really bad. Yep. So yeah, where else have we got? Um, oh yes, I haven't seen this, but they've been talking about using Instagram has a way to custom cut out your stickers and your items on Instagram to make the fun cutout things like you're seeing this girl with cookies and things around her. I haven't tried it, but that sounds cool. You can do it in Canva as well and plenty of other tools, but doing it natively on Instagram sounds fun. So that way you could take your item, cut it out, put it on the colorful backgrounds that you see in so many posts just now, or cut out other Christmassy fun items or something and put them there. I definitely have to look into this, but you can do it in Canva, you can do it in Photoshop, you can do it in all sorts of places.
I mean, it needs to
And
check it out because I haven't looked at it yet. So I wanted to write it down because I keep forgetting.
yeah, I kept looking at it, but the thing is, I am so bad on Instagram. People keep tagging me, and I see it like months later. I'm like, oh, what am I supposed to do about that? Yeah. Etsy's mentioning videos again.
Yeah.
Etsy's always mentioning videos. So At the risk of getting tons of thumbs down, because I know people are fed up of hearing me talk about it, but I think videos are that important. It should be part of our process now, should be part of your flow. When you take pictures, think of the videos, because they go so many places. They prove the authenticity. They prove that you made the item, because there is you making the item. They show the customer all the sides of it that they can't see because they can't pick it up in their hands. They get customers to fall in love with it. They show them how to use it. It can give them a laugh, and it can give them something that they want to share with all their friends and family. So you've got much more chance of going viral on social media. So yeah, just do videos, guys. I think I've banged on about them enough. Yeah, and there's Etsy advertising its creator collective.
Well, I've got a page up that I share this a lot on the Friday Bean if you guys join me on Fridays, but I did notice that there was an addition to the Target finds page. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And the thing that I love about Target, even if you're, not in the US, Target, they are ahead of the trends. They seem to always be on it when it comes to trends. Let me see.
I'll
Right,
just
only
get
want
this.
this window.
Kimiko, how much time and effort should one put into videos? Anything from a minute to 4 days, as much as you need to. Tools like, I should be able to get that now. Tools like Canva and stuff like that, you can do videos ever so quickly, but the more you get into it, you can find yourself spending ages, or yeah, as much time as you need. There's no answer to that.
All right. So this is target.com/finds. And some of the things that I like to highlight on this page aren't necessarily just the items that you're seeing, but also the palettes and the colors. Because even the colors that Target uses as the backgrounds are colors that are trendy, and you can use them for product inspiration, or you can use them as ideas for how you market your products, the backgrounds that you use, the types of props that you use, because these are the things that you find, in these trendy homes. So, for example, this is one of their new fall ideas. It looks like it came out on the 9th. I also really like the buzzwords that they use. Feel like fall with these cozy home finds, warm tones, chic accents, and leafy textures. So these are just interesting buzzwords, but look at some of the patterns and the colors and the aesthetics. We're seeing some of those dried natural elements that Pam and I were talking about previously. We're seeing these warm colors. It's very neutral. There's like a houndstooth pattern here. The colors are very consistent and cohesive. We're seeing bold patterns on the pumpkins. Glass, I'm noticing glass products are very popular right now. Glass, and are you able to see
I
my
can see your screen, but I don't think you're scrolling or whatever. We've just got the fixed screen.
it's not
but,
following my window. Why is it not following my window?
but I
Okay,
was going to say, in what we're seeing in
there
the
we go.
first ones, see these the off-white, I'm not sure what color that would be now. I was just thinking that'll look really cool on Etsy if you do what they've done, and they have bounded it by like a white round it, so you can see it's not just a badly taken picture. You see some, like, you haven't white balanced it or something. If you do that, then it looks deliberate. And I think a
Right.
shop could look amazing if all your listings were in the same color with the little white border to it. It could look really cool.
Yeah, it gives it that intentional. But here are those buzzwords that I was talking about, and some of the colors, the patterns, those natural elements, the houndstooth. Pay very close attention to the color palettes and things that we see. The glass products.
It's very autumn, but that picture is so cozy as well,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's a whole feeling. Again, this reminds me of something that would be on my grandma's couch. But these aesthetics, these kind of, granny core or grandma core aesthetics are very popular right now. Add a touch of elegance to your space with colored glass. We've got more of these natural
Still
elements.
mushrooms. Yeah,
Yep.
mushroom. That's been going for a good few years now.
These are very neutral too. And we've got these natural elements again. more glass. Bring in the dreamy sense of suede and marshmallow. If anybody has, any scented products, suede and marshmallow. See,
Yeah,
lots
well,
of these.
yeah, leather's often popular. So just,
Mhm.
I mean, suede and leather are the same thing, really, but it's just using a different word to make it sound more cozy, isn't
Softer.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or these natural elements. So let's go ahead and we will go back. But notice how everything just fits together. Like it's just so cohesive. So we'll go back. I'll go ahead and pop this one open because it was published on September 6th. And sometimes when it comes to jewelry and stuff, we can find some pretty good ideas. Let's see. So look at this style. I'm noticing this style very
It's
popular
not
on
followed
Etsy.
you again.
Oh, darn it. There we go.
There we go.
Because I keep opening it in new tabs. That's why.
Ah,
This particular style, I'm seeing tons of, Etsy's like editors picks and when they feature products that have this aesthetic, very simple, um, very minimalist, natural metals like golds and silvers and rose golds.
yeah,
Um,
I'm loving the background, the way they've done it's just
yeah.
triangles in different in all shades of the same color. That's really cool.
And look, it's the same color that we just talked about that was trending with the fall decor.
Yep.
So let's see, vanilla, your new signature scent. So vanilla is great because it's a fall smell, it's a Christmas smell, it could be a spring smell, it's very evergreen, so might be something to consider for everybody who, makes products like that. I'm going to assume that nobody really makes shoes, but look at the colors. Black,
There
red,
are some
black, red.
really cool shoes on Etsy, but I haven't seen any of our Etsy sellers with them.
Yeah. Let's see, tummy health. Look at all the baby stuff. It's all food. It's all cakes and ice cream and popsicles and a little hedgehog.
Gigglescape, that's brilliant.
Gigglescape. And then we're back down to these. Let's see if they're, what I really want is the target style tab because
But see, a lot of these are coming up, as I said, with the bright colors as well. So you just cut out your thing and pop it on a bright color, and suddenly everything looks great.
makes it pop. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing the target style. Let me pull it. It might just be because I've got my, yeah.
And I've seen a ton of like reels and product videos and stuff that are that. It's like one color comes in one item, and then a different color in the next item, different color in the next item. It's really simple, but it really is eye catching.
Now, I love Target style because these are real people who have taken pictures and videos of their Target finds. Don't think of this as like trying to make the items that you're seeing. Instead, try to find your ideal Target customers here and the types of items that they have in the backgrounds. Oh, are they all videos? I hate when they're videos. I don't love videos, I love photos. But let's see if I can. Okay, it'll play. I don't want sound. Okay. So she's got those natural elements. We can kind of see in the background the type of like pottery and things that she has. She's got, a very aesthetic kitchen where everything matches. It's very white and clean. Kind of falls into that farmhouse aesthetic. So that might, lead you to believe that, okay, for fall, this farmhouse aesthetic is very popular. It's not so much about, loud kitchen accessories. There's a demand for these very simple items. Oh, look at that. Fuzzy textures, wood textures.
Yeah,
Looks very
that's
cozy.
somebody's very stylish.
Mm-hmm.
Just thinking with that, another thing you can do, guys, if you haven't, the Etsy, what's the thing where they can save? It's not treasuries anymore. I've forgotten the word for it.
Oh, the collections.
The collections, that's it. If you look at some of the collections that people have put your things into, you can see what other things they're putting them with, and that gives you an idea of maybe how they're like how to style them or who to promote them to and stuff.
Let's look at this lady.
Etsy hasn't pushed the collections as much as they should. I think they're fun.
So I'm looking at her house. Again, we've got that clean white aesthetic, not a whole lot of color with her decor. I see wood textures. Looks like, some black and white in the kitchen. It's almost like we get to put a spy camera into, real people's homes to see how they decorate and how real people are staging things. So again, similar
All
color
these
palette.
people live in aesthetic houses. They're not an explosion of color and nonsense.
Oh, I know. I don't know how they do it. My house is I'm a maximalist. So, and now we're getting kind of into summer bikinis and things like that. Here's another very white trendy house. And you got to think that these are the individuals who pay a lot of money for, their home decor to make sure everything is matchy. So if you're somebody who sells
Yeah.
things in the realm of home decor, don't be afraid to, charge a decent amount of money. So I think that that's it though. Oh, we're little. Make us big.
Oh,
There we go.
yeah. Too many buttons. Kimiko, you're welcome. This is a great idea. I was told to look at high-end rentals and homes for sale to get the right tones, but this is a great idea. That's a really cool idea as well. Yep. That's it. There's tons of ways to see what's on trend. But yeah. So guys, let us know what you think here, what you're looking forward to, what you're thinking of doing with your photos, social media listings, or whatever. I know I don't have any of them up here, but I've been inspired by the trend reports that Jan's been talking about. And it gave me the idea. I'm making bookmarks already. It gave me the idea to make keychains on a similar style. And then when I had that idea, because I'm sure you've all found it, when you start to have an idea, you start to have tons of ideas. So then when I was making the keychains, I had an idea to make fridge magnets as well. And now I've got like corgi lovers gift sets and cat lovers gift sets and everything of a bookmark, a keychain, and a fridge magnet. Just all off of listening to Jan's trend reports. So
Let me since feel free to get questions in, guys. Otherwise, Pam and I will have to start making stuff up. That's when we don't have a lot to chat about. But I'm actually going to share my screen again because I want to give an example. This we just launched new products in our shop. Disclaimer that I have to throw in every time is that we're officially licensed by the authors that you see. So just, if you're deciding to make merch based on books, you have to get permission from the authors and pay them when you make sales. But when we talk about, creating a mood and creating an atmosphere with those photos, like, Pam and I were previously talking about, and incorporating in some of those elements. For example, why won't it just open this listing? Well, it opens
that's
in a
because
new
it
tab.
opens it in a new tab. Yeah.
Well, you guys can kind of see from the photo here. I went to the craft store and just stocked up on all this like little foliage and things that were relevant to my specific product. And a lot of the times I see people who take product photos, and this is something that I, kind of learned from Christina Nicole. She's my favorite product photography coach, and you guys should absolutely go subscribe to her YouTube channel. But something that she really challenged me to understand was, are my props that I'm selecting relevant to the items that I'm selling? And a lot of times they were relevant to the season where I do like pumpkins and things like that, but they weren't necessarily relevant to what I was photographing. So I really challenged myself to think of how I could incorporate in props that were relevant to my ideal customers and to my niche, which is bookish product. So in this example, I just got on Amazon and searched for a bunch of daggers and just got a bunch of cheap, like $5 random, like little costume daggers. I got all these fall elements and little floral things that I could kind of stick in the background. And this one, the main character of this book, her name is Poppy. So I got poppies and leaves. I kind of have some of the books in the background so that they're subtly off to the side, where somebody who has read something like A Court of Thorns and Roses, all they really need is this much to understand it. Whereas previously I was trying to make sure like the whole book was in the picture. Like I felt like I need to show people that this is from this. And in reality, having it subtly off to the side, like in this picture of Amy or just a corner, that's enough for somebody to understand what exactly you're selling. So just trying to get your photos to be a little bit more relevant. And then I'm kind of starting to move away from, I experimented with products where I cut myself out and then added in kind of like scenes and backgrounds that were relevant to the different books. And some of them perform okay. This one actually is one of our best selling items, but the real photos without the fake backgrounds, they tend to perform the very, very best. And like I said, it doesn't take a whole lot to achieve some of these photos. It's just about selecting props that are relevant. And right now is the very best time to go to the craft store and start buying all these silly little things. Like I've got these little Christmas trees in the background and little twigs and little flowers. And all this stuff is pretty darn cheap, especially if you get the fall stuff, because they're already phasing out fall and bringing in their Christmas items. So I just go to Hobby Lobby or Michael's Craft Store, in the US. I'm sure you guys have something similar over there, Pam. And I just stock up.
Yeah, we have Hobbycraft, which is one of the biggest ones. But yeah, as well, one thing I'm waiting for, although I say I'm not looking forward to the end of summer, but I'm waiting for autumn to hit like the full time, and I'm waiting for a beautiful summer's day to. I've bought all the kind of full decor, the fun stuff, and then I can go out and take a picture of my little dogs outside playing in a beautiful fall landscape. I don't know if it'll be pictures that I'll use in my shop. It might be pictures that I use on Instagram, or it might just be things that I learn how to use my camera a bit more with, but I'll have fun with it for sure. Because last year I took a photography course on like editing in magical elements and things. And what was really cool with that, like what you're saying, having the real backgrounds, it's not a case of just taking a picture of my dog and taking the beautiful full landscape and mashing them together. You go out and take the picture in the place that you're going to put the dog and get the right colors and everything, and then put the dog in, change the focus so he's getting all the right lighting and everything on him as well. And it just, everything ties together, because your eyes, let's face it, we're all so used to getting ripped off with cheap generic shops that have pictures that look good, and then you're like, no, they look too good, because it is, I'm not saying mock-ups are bad, but it's just, you're not getting what you're seeing there.
Exactly.
So that's probably as well, while Starla's ones, you might look and think, oh, maybe that's not as good a picture, I wish I had a cleaner background or something, but people look at it and they immediately know that's right. Where the cutout ones, it's like something might not be quite right.
Yeah.
They look amazing, but authentic is much better.
This kind of goes with Lorenzo's question, if you want to, from the Geek Authority.
Right.
So he said, is it good to keep your backgrounds busy and complicated, all different like you're showing, or can they be consistent in each image, keeping a continuity for the brand? So I'm going to screen share one more time. Give me 1 second.
Yes. There isn't a right and wrong. Quite a lot of the time I'm experimenting with different things to see what works, and you can see Starla's doing some experimentations.
Exactly. So here's the thing. When it comes to listing products that have these busy backgrounds, the one thing that I would keep in mind is your niche and the expectations of your target customers. So if I go to, I'm actually going to have to stop screen sharing to show you this. So I'm going to stop real quick. You don't even have to put us back to full size if you want to.
It's only a click.
Okay. And then I want to show you where I get the inspiration for ours. I look at some of the biggest competitors in my industry that aren't Etsy sellers. So the Bookish box, this is a subscription box that sends, beautiful editions of, different books. But look at how they take their photos. So I know my industry and I know my target customers, and I see by this, 104 likes on this beautiful aesthetic photo, I can observe what my ideal target customer expects when it comes to their marketing. Here's another one that I've kind of tried to replicate, where I was standing in front of the bookshelf in the mock-up that I had created. I know what the expectations of my ideal target customers are because I study brands that are similar to mine that aren't necessarily on Etsy. I'm studying brands that are bigger than mine in order to see how they photograph their product. And then I'm kind of replicating the aesthetic, but not necessarily, stealing the idea. Look, there's the orange slices. So that's how you know that it's trendy, if it's trendy in the bookish community.
Oh yeah, that works really well, doesn't it? That's a
Mm-hmm.
great shot.
Makes a good prop too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll go ahead and stop sharing there. The thing is, if you're making jewelry that is beautiful, like beautiful gold and silver, and your biggest inspiration is a brand like Tiffany & Co. Well, when you go to Tiffany & Co.'s page, they don't have any props. They have their beautiful products. Sometimes they throw in like the boxes and the ribbons, but their images are very simplistic because that is the aesthetic that they're aiming for. So what you need to do is spend a little bit of time trying to find brands that you idolize and who have the aesthetic that you would like to achieve. Then identify if your target customers are the same, because that's going to be very important. And then test, because like Pam, mentioned, you can test a lot of different things and some things might not work. I just showed you examples in my shop where I removed the background and put, starry skies and things in the background. Some of those are performing okay. Some of them aren't performing very well at all. And out of all of my listings, the ones that perform the very best are the ones where I've taken the photo and done the props myself and not removed the background and put in a fake one.
Yeah.
So
I've got I just had wrong button. That one. I was just looking, I couldn't remember what's in my shop just now because I'm testing. So it's the same. We've got some clean backgrounds, and then I went with some clean backgrounds in books, and then I went with some was when dark academia was in fashion. I did some darker ones. So my shop doesn't have a cohesive theme either, but different people will find different listings, and hopefully they aren't put off when they come to my shop. They haven't been yet. So I think most of us are in our shops. We're kind of in testing mode all the time.
yeah, and
So,
with my first shop, I used white, perfectly white backgrounds for every listing. The only item other than my necklaces that were in the shots, I used a pebble that I leaned my key necklaces on, and I did the exact same angle, the same background, the same exact white background, and the same stone in every single photo, and it looked so nice. When you went to the page, it looked so high end. But at the time, that was the demographic that I was appealing to, and now I'm appealing to a completely different audience. And I'm gonna, rather than take shots in the dark, I'm going to look at what those big, very, very successful companies are doing that are already dominating my industry, and, try to figure out how can I reverse engineer this and do something similar for my own Etsy shop. So it's definitely
yeah.
experimenting.
I think by its nature, book lovers are more maximalist
Mm-hmm.
because you're having something that you don't need to have anymore. Which I hate to. I love books, but people who love reading books will then have to have a bookshelf, so they've got added stuff in their house. That we generally tend to be people who have a bit more clutter. So having a shop that has, not saying your shop's cluttered, it's lovely, but
It's a
it
beautiful mess. That's what I call it. A beautiful mess.
exactly, yes. Your aesthetic doesn't have to be every single picture is the exact same thing. It can be every single picture is a style that feels good for your target market. So yes, the maximalist, bit of clutter, bit of seeing that people are reading, because that's when they say get away in a book. It's like forget about all the housework you've got to do, forget about everything, wrap a blanket on, sit in your mess, reading your book basically, and hope someone else tidies it so you've got the Instagram worthy house. But yeah.
Yeah, my house is not Instagram worthy, but it's always cozy. So it's always
Yeah.
it's very maximalist. There's something every wall. What's that? There's the aesthetic, minimalist homes where they've got like one piece of wall art, but then there's the maximalist homes that have what are called gallery walls, where there are just tons of things. And my wall is like, I've got framed pictures, I've got big like vintage 1950s taxidermy heads, like just odds and ends, oddities that I found at like antique stores and things like that. So, it's just about understanding who your target customer is and what's important to them, because, somebody who doesn't read might look at my photos and say, look at that mess, oh, it's awful. But then my bookish person, they're like, oh yeah, light my candle, got my coffee, got my cozy blanket, got my potpourri, I've got, all these little knickknacks and trinkets that make me happy. And I try to mimic what, their home or what their aesthetic or what, you know, the things that they would find interesting and what to sit and look at. Because those photos, I mean, they really do draw your eye, because you're looking all around, you're looking at all the different little things, and it
Yeah.
makes
I
one
was going to
feeling.
say, though, you're not trying to mimic their aesthetic. This is something that Brian spoke about last week as well. You are their aesthetic. You know what looks good because that's you. So, yes, I suppose we started talking about trends, and now we're kind of finishing up saying you don't actually have to follow the trends, because the niche you know about isn't necessarily like all stylist people and all me and everything. We didn't, when minimalist was the biggest thing all round, we weren't doing minimalist. I did look occasionally and think I wish I had some place in my house that I could take some of these beautiful Instagram photos of me doing stuff, but there's not a good angle anywhere. That was another, when I was watching the Etsy up and they were showing all the real crafters, and I was going, apart from, I think I'm actually going to do it, but it's just for the funnies to go like, oh, here's this, a real Etsy seller, and then actually there's me sitting in my crafty mess. But it's not a kind of thing that'll go viral on Instagram apart from as a funny.
Yeah, I don't have any. I have to just go out because my garden is really nice. So I don't know what I'm going to do in the winter. When I actually take my product photos with the, all the little props and all the wood and all that, I take those sitting on the floor in front of my like glass storm door, because it's literally the only spot in my house where I can sit and get that natural light and be in front of a window, because I've taken Christina Nicole's um, her light and her product photography essentials programs, and she's really big on staging in front of a window, making sure that it's natural, even lighting, the perfect time of day to take your photos. And I'm looking at my house like there is something in front of every window, and for the windows where there isn't something in front of, the windows are like this high off the ground. So I'm like, there is no way that I can stage photos in front
Yeah.
of these, but I have a glass storm door, so I sit on the floor and do my pictures there.
Good thinking. Yeah. I have to do most of my best photos in summer because I'm in Scotland and we're past the equinox. It starts getting dark at about 2:30 in the afternoon in the middle of winter. And I was just hearing her course, and I completely agree with her, but she's like, take photos in natural light. We don't have any for 3 months of the year. Like literally there's no light.
Gotta wake up super early.
No, the sun isn't, it's
Oh, you
not
don't have.
getting bright. Yeah,
You
both
don't have.
ends. Yeah, and that little bit that we've got in the middle that's daylight, it's raining. So
Yeah, that doesn't work.
yeah, that's why when I say I'm taking these photos, I'm sitting and I'm waiting. I'm like checking the weather, going, "Are we going to get a good day that I can do this in?"
Let's see. Do you know if we're allowed to sell books that we've written on Etsy? I did not print or make the book myself, but I'm a collaborator in a book that was published this year. I've seen people do it, and there's nothing on Etsy that says that you can't.
If you've written it, then yes, I believe so. You would have to say who's printed it. That's your production partner. Yeah, double checking the rules, but it's you've made something if it's yours.
I might, if I were you, that's one that I might message Etsy about,
Mhm.
because I feel like I looked into it a while ago, because I thought that would be a cool thing to do, maybe like a box set, because I've got merch for my book, and I thought I could include my book and maybe some merch related to my book, and sell it as a box set. But yeah, I would definitely try to reach out to Etsy support just in case.
I think you should bell to as a gift bundle now with
Mm-hmm.
the changed rules. Definitely, that sounds like a cool thing. And you, Starla, you have fans. If you were, rather than buying it through Amazon or something, they can buy it through Starla and get hand picked. Well, wouldn't yeah, it would be hand curated by you because your print on demand people wouldn't be sending out the book. You'd have to package it up,
Yeah.
seal it with a little kiss from Starla. There you go.
And all my little POD things that I've got a candle that's for my book. I've got blankets and all kinds of stuff I could include. I don't know. Like I
That
said,
sounds
just
like a cool idea. Yeah.
now you couldn't do that with somebody else's book. You couldn't just go buy someone else's book and include it in a gift box because you
I'm not
probably
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the rules for that because now it's saying like curated by you, and they are talking about gift boxes of specifically things that you found and bought. So I don't know really.
yeah, I
It's
assume that with books, because it is a piece of art, you would have to um, work with the publisher because you probably not only would you have to be licensed, but there are sellers who do things like sprayed edges where they'll take the original editions of the book and spray the edges and then resell them. But again, I think you just have to make sure that you're officially licensed by those authors in order to do so because they are going to expect a cut from those sales.
yeah, it's a difficult thing. Definitely, I suppose like anything, if it's a book that you didn't make, you have get the permission or make sure you have the right permissions that you're covered to do that. But yeah, Sprouty Dreams, I'd definitely ask Etsy because I think that's in my opinion, that's more handmade than a lot of things. But yeah,
You wrote it, so yeah,
exactly.
as long as it's something that it's your book. I know that I would be ticked off if I was scrolling through Etsy and saw somebody selling like my book without my permission in a gift box. But if it's yours, then
Too right.
it's
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. I don't know how many people would specifically be coming to Etsy to buy books if we're not even sure that you can. So it might not be the best place, but in, I don't see why not. I think it would be a cool place for it. Um,
Yeah, I would really, if you were doing that, you would almost have to target keywords like reader gift box or gifts for readers and something like that, and then almost attach an aesthetic to it. So for example, if you were like a horror author, you could do a horror themed gift box where you included your book, but then some other, kind of Halloweeny spooky things, maybe like a spooky bath bomb and a spooky Halloween candle and things that would fit because that person is going in blind essentially, so they should at least have a brief understanding of the genre. If it's a book that has dragons in it, making sure that they know it's a fantasy book and incorporating in little things like, because really what you're selling is like fantasy gift box or horror book gift box, and then you're just the one who's selecting the book for them, which is cute. It's kind of like I don't know if you've seen in bookstores, Pam, but they do the blind date with a book where you go and they have the book completely like wrapped in brown paper and there's just like a very brief like sentence kind of describing the book, and then you just go in blind and buy it, and then you end up with
yeah, I was keyword researching book things and that came up. So I'm glad you explained what it was to me. That's cool.
yeah, our bookstore, our Barnes and Noble actually has a whole display for blind date with a book where you can go and so I have so many books in my to be read list, my TBR, that there is just no way that I would sacrifice my time into just picking up a random book and going in blind. I've got a queue
Mhm.
built up that
I'm so fussy. And also, and it's been a good thing for gifts too, the local supermarket just around the corner from me has, I don't know, you call it a book exchange for charity. So when you want to get rid of books you're done with, you put it in there and you just take out some other ones, leave some money. And we found some great books there.
awesome. Yeah.
Everyone's up on your idea of you doing your gift bundle. They like that idea. And live chill life. Dollar Tree has good knickknacks to
Yeah.
put in your photography. Absolutely, everywhere has. I'm always looking around my supermarket, even stupid things like my Asda, which is sort of like your Walmart, has some really cheap dresses. But I'm looking, I wouldn't wear the dresses, but I would use the fabric for a backdrop, something in the background. Yeah, tempted.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, I think that we are good on questions since we didn't have very many to begin with, and we're at the last minute. So we appreciate you so much. Pam, I will not be here on Thursday the 19th, and there's still no word on if we're even doing Q&A on Thursday the 26th, because I will be in Latvia for Printify's Amplified event. If you guys want to sign up for that, I do have a code to get you in free. It is all you have to do is go to printify.com/amplified. If you're a POD seller, you're going to learn tons. And if you use the code AMP Starla, AMP Starla at checkout, you can bypass the checkout system so that you don't have to pay the $5 entry fee. You can get in for free. So hopefully we see some of you guys there.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm kind of I wish I was going now. I feel bad.
Now I'm mad at you that you're not going. I'm going to be like all by myself.
I know. If I'd have known, I would have gone, and then you didn't tell me. Like Starla hasn't been out of the country, so this is her first time, and she didn't tell me. I would have gone if I'd known that was the case.
I'll wing it. I'll figure
You'll
it
be
out.
fine. Yeah.
All right,
so,
guys.
Myself and Brian will see you all next week. But yeah, thank you all so much. And if you have any ideas for what you want us to talk about, leave them in the chat in the Facebook, which you can find in the comments of this video, the description of this words. Anyway, with that, with me losing the ability to speak, I think that's time for us to end it. Thank you all so much, guys.
Bye, guys.